Hello friends, I'm continuing with this Consumer Protection Act 1986, which is amended in 2002. The Constitution of the Central Council, subsection 2, provides for the following constitution. The minister in charge of the consumer affairs in the central government shall be its chairman, and B. Number of the other official, non-official members representing the prescribed interests. Rule number 3 of the Consumer Protection Act 1987 prescribes 150 members in National Consumer Council. Now, objective to provide the protection of the interest of the consumers, to make the provisions of the establishment of consumer councils and authorities for the settlement of disputes and matters connected with. This objective is envisaged in bringing up the consumer redressal agencies like District Forum, State Commission and National Commission. Who is a consumer? Consumer refers to an individual or households that uses the goods services generated within the economy. Consumer is defined as someone who acquires goods or services for the direct use or ownership rather than for resale or use in production and manufacturing. However, if a large scale purchases are made to maintain the livelihood, then he will also be considered as a consumer. Concept of consumer and protection. Consumer protection, safeguarding the interests and rights of the consumers. In other words, it refers to the measures adopted by the protection consumers' unscrupulous and unethical malpractices by the business and to provide them speedy redressal of their grievances. Restrictive trade practices, MRTP, that is also curbed by introducing this Consumer Protection Act. The Consumer Protection Act 1986 was enacted for a better protection of the interests of the consumers. The provisions of the Act came into force with effect from 15/4/87. Consumer Protection Act imposes strict liability on a manufacturer in case of supply of defective goods by him and the service provider in case of a deficiency in rendering of its services. Now, strict liability is also explained in Reynolds and Fletcher case. Features of Consumer Protection Act. It applies to all goods, services, and fair trade practices unless specifically exempted by the central government. It covers all sectors, whether private, public, or cooperative. It provides establishment of consumer protection councils at the central, state, and district levels to protect rights of the consumers, and a three-tier quasi-judicial machinery to deal with the consumer grievances and disputes. Again, coming to the objects, to protect the consumer from abuse, to provide a venue for grievance and redress, to ensure a better quality and living by improving the quality of the consumer products and services. This also enhances the healthy competition amongst the sellers, and the very objective of getting a reasonable price on the goods without restricting the trade practices is also envisaged, is one of the objectives of introducing Consumer Protection Act. Rights of a consumer can be had from these lines: right to safety, right to information, right to choice, right to be heard, right to seek redressal, right to consumer education, right to basic needs, right to healthy environment. These are all the rights of a consumer, and this will be reflected by addressing the grievances in the National Council as well as the agencies where the redressal is sought. Rights of the consumer: right to choose, the right to be assured wherever possible access a variety of goods, services, competitive prices. Fair and effective competition must be encouraged. Do as to provide the consumers with widest range of products and services at lower cost. Unless a healthy competition is there, one cannot monopolize the sale of goods at a higher price. Once the competition has brought in, it paves way for a reasonable price in the market. Unfair and deceptive practices: sale of substandard goods, charging higher prices, misrepresenting the usefulness of goods, not meeting the safety standards, etc., which are hazardous to the life, are also brought in the